Welcome back to Project Brupeg. Today's episode is just a phase.
We are going through a phase. We feel like we need a little pick-me-up.
You've previously seen us lift our little dinghy onto the rear deck of Brupeg using our centralised winch that we have at the back of the boat. Now, this is a pain in the neck to get it up and down. It doesn't really work, and we need to come up with a better solution. Today's solution is Davits.
Brupeg was a sunken fishing trawler that was stripped out and ready for the scrapyard. She's just completed a 10-year rebuild that's brought her back to life. With the help of volunteers and funded by our Patreons, community and subscribers, she'll be crewed by passionate people from around the world. If you'd like to be involved and support the project, please consider joining us on Patreon or subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the description below.
We've just had breakfast, pancake breakfast with Mia and Robin. Lovely to see you both, and we need to go and pick up some metal now.
Most people jump in the car to go and get parts, and that's not how we do things on Brupeg. New bowsprit for the dinghy retrieved. Alright, now we have this length of heavy wall stainless. So this is schedule 40 stainless. It's 65 NB nominal bore, so 65 millimeters ID. I don't know what that wall thickness is, but I'm going to guess that's probably 4.5, 5 millimeters. It's pretty chunky. This is pretty solid stainless. This is 316. We're going to be welding these sort of jutting straight out. We've been getting up as early as we can each morning because it's just so stinking hot in the day. You can see it's like a mill pond behind me. The morning sun is really low on the horizon. That signal was just letting everybody know Jess is up for her breakfast this morning.
Yeah, we've been getting up really early. I'm heading 3:30 now to get everything done before the heat comes on around 11, 12. Just everything stops. Locals are saying the same thing, so it's not just us. It's pretty hard. And Dame's getting up pretty early, and we're just on our days off. We just sleep as much as possible. Pretty humid yesterday. It was uncomfortable, isn't it?
It was excruciating.
It was. Sort of welding and cutting and stuff, it's extra hard. So Damien talked to David here at the marina, and they were so fantastic. Common sense, don't put anything in the water, tidy up after yourself, don't be obnoxious with the noise, and do what you want to with your boat within reason, which is amazing. We went when we picked up the pipe yesterday, there's a travel lift that they have over there, so we priced up lifting the boat. We've got to cut some anodes off because we think we're over anoded on the boat. We've got to figure out our electrolysis balance on the boat, so we're pretty sure we've got too much on. That and trying to get the prop finished, prop speeded. We priced it up, and we just think we can't do it before we go, so we're going to be diving on it. There's a guy here who you can pay, and he dives on your prop and he gives it a scrub. So we're going to try and get in touch with him, a local apparently. So we'll do that, and then the lovely Pat, who hopefully we'll be travelling north with, up into Indonesia together. He's an ex-Navy diver, so he just loves getting in the water. So he's offered, so we'll be making him meals or something in return for diving on the prop and cleaning it as we go north. And then when we get into Indonesia, we're going to pull out and we're going to do some work on the bum of the boat. God, it's lovely, isn't it?
Some people have commented, why don't we just get in the water and clean the boat ourselves? And that's a fair and legitimate comment, but I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak from personal experience. I've managed to get to 42, and I feel like I've learned a lot of valuable life lessons. And one of those is I've never once been attacked by a shark or a crocodile in Woolworths or a supermarket or any shopping mall that I've ever been into. So me and sharks and monsters have an agreement. They won't come into my environment, and I won't go into theirs. And it seems to have worked quite well so far, and I really don't want to change that if I can help it.
Dane was just telling me some of the ideas he's had about the pulley end of the Davit. Do you want to just explain the options?
So there's two ways that are kind of the common ways of doing it. One is getting a pulley
and sinking it into the end of the pipe and then putting a pin through it and all that sort of stuff. That's one way. And another way is to weld on like a tab of flat bar with a hole, and you can just shackle on an external pulley. There's pros and cons to both. The sunken in pulley is much neater and it looks really cool, but it's also harder to manage because then you don't have anything stopping your ropes from sliding off. There's challenges with it, whereas with the shackled on pulley at the top, it doesn't look as good, but at the same time it's actually much better in terms of rope management and like line management, things like that. One of the things we're thinking of with the pulleys is not capping the end off, because Jess has some phase 2 plans for these davits.
Yes, well, we thought instead of having just 2 bars out as davits, and the pulleys drop down, you lift the boat up that way and you've got a winch in the middle sort of thing. So we're going to do like a curve here, like a corner, straight, and then another corner. So it'll be like on the diagram you would have seen, it's joined, and this means that there's a drop point. So if a diver's needing to be hauled up,
it gives you a central lifting point rather than lifting from either end of the davit.
And mostly, and most importantly, a swing can can dangle in the water, and you can winch yourself in and out of the water easily. So those are the options. Also,
a dive swing, because then we can write it off as a business expense.
That's a good idea. So how do you write off? Like you get in a inflatable thing, and the boat's driving along, and you're getting pulled. What's that?
Ski
like
biscuit?
A biscuit?
Yeah, so what we're testing is high performance surface mounted ROV technology.
Exactly, yeah. So that could be fun as well.
Yeah, with a person on it. High performance manned ROV technology.
Nice. And it's training as well.
Yeah, it's training, yeah, good call.
Safety training?
Yeah, so maybe there's some training grants we should go after.
We are so not going to go for anything like that.
Oh my God, can you imagine the application? Can you show us photos of you? Rather not.
What kind of quality training do you offer? Well, we are Brupeg.
Can you show us photos of your ROV, and we just show them a photo of the sea? It's under there. Kotang. As you've seen us use previously, we use these pipe mitre cut templates. So when you wrap that around the pipe, basically what it does, it gives you the ability to get a really square, beautiful cut, but at the same time, by wrapping it around just like what Jess has done then, you end up with this sort of pattern on the end, and that shape allows you to slot it onto another pipe and weld it on, and you get a perfect, beautiful joint all the way around. And these things save the day. They're awesome. It's you can do this manually without having these templates, but it's so much easier just to use them. So then you can just go through and mark where you need to cut, and if you do half on the paper, half on the metal, the paper absorbs, you end up with basically a clean line. It's like masking tape essentially, like painter's tape when you're trying to get a crisp line. So the paper gives you that crisp line. You just follow that all the way around. First pipe marked up, second pipe about to be done.
Davits, Brupeg style. Look at the size of that wall. I don't know if it's enough. Is it ever enough? Kind of booty. We need a way of having the pulley on the end of it, so the part that sits out. We're going to weld a little tag on, so I've got to cut that out. It's the D shape I'm after. We'll shackle the pulley onto that at the end. So we've got some 6mm plate, and you can see it's had some use, so we just want to cut that off. So I'm just going to cut as close as I can to that and save as much material, because it's not cheap, this stuff, right on the end there. So I'm just making a D shape, so I'm doing the top of the D, or the round of the D's like that. So I need to make a straight down here, but I want it to be angled correctly, so that's pretty good, I think. And then the other side. So it's just eyeballing at this point. And we'll just see if it looks about right. Not too bad. So again, just following the same, eyeballing a D shape.
So I'm going to guess about there, and that's about the centre.
So that's our centre. what we need to do is put the mag drill together, and we're going to throw this down. So what is this? This is a 18mm hole, so we're basically going to hole saw an 18mm hole in there, and then because our battery drill is dead, we are going to use the mag drill to do the countersinking so that we have a nice lovely edge on the side. But we need to cut the hole before we actually cut the plates out, because it's impossible to hold this. It's stainless, it's not magnetic, it's impossible to hold this prior to losing all of this structure out here that we can clamp to. So let's get into it and start cutting.
Thanks, John, for dropping in. It's great to see you.
I'm in my zone, can't fade. Got my mindset on grade, like I am home, no doubt. Time to raise it too loud. I'm gonna light up the sky, gonna play it strong. 'Cause I've got that fire inside, lighting up my heart. No looking back, heaven knows. It's time to get up and go. Life passing by, can't go slow, no, no. We ride it once, then we're done. I'm gonna light up the sky, gonna play it strong. 'Cause I got that fire inside, lighting up my heart. I'm gonna light up the sky, gonna play it strong. 'Cause I got that fire inside, lighting up my heart. Oh yeah, light up the sky. 'Cause I've got that fire inside. I'm gonna light up the sky, gonna play it strong.
So if anyone's wondering whether or not you can actually do welding on a steel boat in the water without disconnecting batteries whilst using an inverter welder running off batteries and inverter only, the answer is yes. Okay, so it's hot, I'm not going to touch it, but that came out pretty nice. That weld's not the greatest, it's pretty messy in terms of uniformness, but it's a good enough weld in terms of strength. This one here is a wee bit more uniform, but it's maybe, I could probably do another 2 runs if I really wanted to go pedantic and make this stronger, but I don't need to. This is not going to be pulling 3 ton, this is going to be pulling a couple of 100 kg, so this is more than good enough. So welding like that, I'm welding at 135 amps on an inverter TIG. That's pulling straight off the lithium batteries and the 2 8 kVA inverters. I don't know what sort of amperage or anything it pulls when it's doing that. We never even get close to tapping out the electrical system on here. It's pretty phenomenal electrical system. We will start the genset because I think from memory last time I checked we're at 55% on the batteries. So I'll start the genset in a minute, but that's basically just to top the batteries up. It's not because we need it to do any of this work. So the boat electrical system is an absolute monster of an electrical system, and it makes things like this possible. Alright, crackle of dawn again. We've got to get these beams welded. Well, they're not beams, they're tubes or pipes or something along those lines. We have to get them welded up onto this bar here. So one goes there and one goes there. So what we need to do in order to do that, come around this side, we need to polish off an area with the flapper so that it's ready to go welding wise, and then same deal here, we need to polish off like a sort of 1/2 inch wide strip all the way around so that we can TIG weld right the way around. And we're going to TIG weld for a couple of reasons. There's not a lot of wind, so it's possible to TIG weld today. But also, TIG welding is very clean. So there's MIG welding, you get a lot of sparks and rubbish come off it. Same with stick welding. TIG welding is basically very clean. There shouldn't be any sparks. If you're getting sparks, you're doing it wrong. So by TIG welding, we can protect the deck from getting hot metal dropped all over it. All right, end cleaned up. Same on that one down there, and then up the top. You sort of see we've polished an area where we're going to weld, and exactly the same over this side here. So these are going to be a pain in the neck to get sticking out the back ready to weld because they're quite heavy. I don't know what they weigh each. Basically, these are going to be a bit of a challenge. Plan 1, because there's bound to be about 9 of them. Plan 1 is using the flagpole. You can see out there we've got a pulley basically at the top of it. What we're thinking is tie a bowline around this so it holds the end of it supported vertically, but it's also going to be in the wrong place because we need to be out here, not over here underneath where the flagpole is going to be. So what we're thinking is triangulate it with something going over to that corner so that we can kind of adjust sideways and adjust vertical. It's not going to be very easy, but we think maybe that it'll work. And then Jess is going to do the positioning of it to get the socket, I suppose you could call the socket of it, aligned up with this here, and then I can tack it once it's basically in place. So
Where's the mark?
So it's just there's all polished up. Who knows if this is going to work, but we'll figure it out.
How good is that weld on the flagpole?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to make sure they're tied and attached because if it falls, it's going to go in the water and we're not going to recover it.
That's why we have 2 ropes. Not because we think we need 2 ropes, but because we don't trust the welding on the flagpole. Throw a bowline in there. So I've got that to lift vertically and that to pull sideways, basically. Oh, yeah, it's not as heavy as I thought.
That's good.
So keep coming out. That's it. And then can you plug it in?
And my finger's in the way.
Finger out.
Tell me where it is.
Yeah.
You know, okay.
I'm just going to tie this off. Give me 2 secs. I've got to adjust it sideways now. Okay, I'm going to go sideways to get it square.
Okay.
How square does that look? More.
Better. No, that's too much.
Okay, I'm going to ease it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get a square so that we can be sure. Right, I'm going to the roof right now.
How's the gap for welding? Too big?
It's not perfect, but it'll do.
You going to be able to fill it?
Yep. Okay, welding. Okay, I'm going to try and get the top.
Just wait a second, right there. Yep, okay.
Welding on that side now.
Oh, that was a nice long one.
Okay, it won't go anywhere now.
Are you going to weld up top first?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, I'll come up.
Hey, love. Hey. One side gap's fairly large, so it's a real push.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. Just take your time, eh?
Wondering if I should do it from the bottom, actually. Oh, it's better, thanks.
Makes a difference, eh?
Yeah.
We'll have some waves in about a minute.
Yep.
I'll let you know when they're coming.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay, so close. That'll do.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Wow.
I just thought of something.
How are you going to get to the knot?
How am I going to get to that knot?
Huh. Maybe we're not right now. Maybe we need to just carry on with the other one.
We're what? What right now?
Maybe we're not right now. Yeah. Haha. It's too hot to joke.
we'll just get it vertical and then we'll do sideways.
Yeah. If you hold it for 1
I
second,
got
pick
that.
it up.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, can you hold that? I'm going to adjust the sideways.
Is it on the mark?
Close enough for now. I've just got to adjust sideways so we get it straight. Yeah.
Sweat makes the pants stay, like you can't be so flexible because you get glued to where you are. Isn't it?
How's that looking?
I can't really, it looks straight.
Okay.
Just let me see if I can see if it's on the, oh yeah, it's alright. I think it's a wee bit too far inward.
Need to pull it vertical slightly. It's
Okay.
not quite aligned with the other one. Trying to get the two angles.
Yeah, you got to make it look good.
Yeah. That's pretty good, I'd say.
Hi, baby. Hello.
More fluffy holds.
Oh, we've got some weight on the end.
We're load testing. Can you have a look on the back of the bar? There's a mark where I want it to sit. Can you sort of make sure that the centre of the pipe is there?
So it's way off there.
Can you line that up?
Yep.
I'm going to pull this sideways.
Yep.
I think I have to go down too. So I need to ease it down.
It's looking much better.
Um,
Underneath it's like 3 mil or 4 mil.
Okay, this side, welding. Okay,
Good?
yep.
Probably should have gotten up earlier.
Yeah.
Another hour would have been good.
Yeah. What is the time?
It's 8 o'clock.
Aye. Oh, tired arms. Now that we have our two davits welded up, we need to obviously untie the ropes at the end of it, and that's a problem that we didn't really anticipate. Hashtag Hobbit. They're a little bit hard to reach. They're 1.5 meters out the back of the boat, so that's probably something that we'll tackle either last thing at night or first thing in the morning when it's cold. And I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but I'm going to say Jess is volunteering to do that because she's the smallest midget on the boat. So she's going to be climbing out allegedly at this stage to untie those ropes and to fit some pulleys onto each of those D-rings that we welded. Now, we need to lift the dinghy up and down, so for that we need some sort of winch. About 150 years ago approximately, we bought a winch to turn our stairs over there into an elevator. So essentially when we're lifting heavy things up and down into the engine room and things like that, it's quite challenging. You're going up and down a set of steep stairs as well as carrying a weight. The plan was to build a platform that had rails that went up and down, that was lifted up and down by a winch. We still have plans to do that, but it's way down the priority list. However, we did manage to get the winch for that. So it's a 24 volt Dyneema cable winch. Let me have a little bit of a show for you. Here we go, so this is it. So we bought this a long time ago. This is a small little 4,000 pound winch, so it's more than enough for what we need. Has Dyneema rope, so we don't have to worry about rusting. Has a couple of wireless remotes, and it has a wired remote. So I've always found in the past that these wired remotes are a little bit more faster acting. These wireless have a little bit of a delay. It's really not that big a deal for what we're doing with this in terms of using it for davits, but this is a nice small wee winch, and what I'm thinking is up here in the roof, mounting it maybe that way, mounting it sort of up in the roof like that, tucked away, so that it's very weather protected, and then the cables can just have a clear run out to the davits from the top of the roof here. Now, this is not a very expensive winch. This was cheap when we bought it 5 years ago, and it's probably not much more in price now. It's probably a few $100s. This is a relatively inexpensive DC winch. What that means is the seals in here are garbage, and that's what fails. This is actually the same type of winch, just a smaller version, but the same type of winch as what we originally had lifting our wings up and down. They work really well when they work, but they die very easily because of the O-rings in here. So before we go and put this all together finally, we'll do dry fits and things like that with it as is, but before we do anything with this in a permanent sense, I'm going to pull this electric motor apart, and I'm going to put some good O-rings and or sealant in here to basically seal this up so that it's got a decent longevity. Gearboxes on these are pretty blooming reliable. We've had the old winch motors up the top, and literally we only have the gearbox now because the electric motor fell apart, but the gearbox themselves has been flawless. You know, for what they are, they're sort of, I would call them a cheap and nasty winch, and if you fix these O-rings,
they tend to last a little bit longer than if you just leave them as is. After much brain things inside of my head, I have come up with a layout. So this is a piece of 3mm stainless plate. I'm going to slice this line you can see here, and this whole plate gets welded to the roof. Now I'm also going to be bolting this to the stainless plate so it can come on and off as needed. This is the controller for everything, so I have 3 cables going forward, so positive, negative, and then one that has a plug on it, and this plug goes to this little in-out. There we go, you can plug there. Has this little in-out controller. So what I'm going to do is mount this vertically. It's got this little bracket on the side. I'm going to make a stainless variant of that bracket. I'm going to drill a 20mm hole, put a grommet in there, and I'm going to slide that cable through there and mount this vertically. These ones here, I'm going to be putting a 20mm hole there, there, and there with a grommet. All of the cabling and everything is going to basically disappear underneath this tray, and then I'm going to have a hole here, and the 2 positive negatives are going to come up through here and touch on that. So basically I want the wiring to be as clean as I can possibly get it, and that's why I'm doing the holes and putting the wiring underneath so we don't just randomly have it dangling out the front.
Under the city lights, dear, you're so pale, but when the lights low, conversation brings it down near, while we're watching the skies and planes, my sweetheart. Maybe I am in a dream. I wish to stay some dear, will forever stay in our hearts. Old memories are fading while we're watching the skies and planes, my sweetheart. Maybe I am in a dream.
And that's why I bothered to make all of the holes. So basically, ignore that. These are all going to be tightly tucked away in conduit and so on. But basically, that's what the panel is going to look like sitting on the roof. So there's nothing really that anybody can mess with. So what I'm thinking, partly one of the reasons why I wanted to hide all the wiring like this, so all of these will get grommets, so this is going to be protected really well. At the moment it's just stainless. But one of the reasons why I wanted to hide the wiring, A, it looks tidier, it just is nicer generally, but there's less stuff for people to like snag and grab and break or whatever. You know, like there's nothing worse than being out in the middle of a job and have a researcher swing a piece of equipment around or something and snag off something like this and then take out the davits completely. So by doing this, it gives us a level of protection. Now I do need to still make this little bracket, so I'm going to take this off and pretty much carbon copy that, and that there will sit like that. So I'm going to TIG weld a flat, it'll be on this side here. I'll TIG weld a flat there like that, and then this will bolt to that flat and it'll sit like this. This one here just bolts straight to the stainless, and this winch will bolt to the stainless as well. So I think this is looking pretty spiffingly good. I've made this little bracket. I just need to pop a couple of holes, basically same diameter as these guys here, and then that will bolt onto the, can't quite see it in the camera, but it'll bolt on the side of that there, and we'll weld it down in place. There we go, weld it down in place like that, and that will be our mount for that bracket. We also need to drill a couple of holes to hold this solenoid down, and then a couple of holes to hold the winch down. However, I've run into a little bit of a problem. Recently, you can tell I was doing some paint stirring, this chuck has completely destroyed itself and it will not undo. But luckily we've got another battery drill that we could use. If only the chuck on this one hadn't also done exactly the same thing. So right now we have absolutely no drill apart from the mag drill on Brupeg. So we can't do any small holes. So this is on hold until I can get another battery drill.
We also want to remind everybody that Brupeg's open day is coming up on the 25th of January at O'Connell Wharf in Gladstone. This is the area the boat will be parked. There's plenty of parking, and if you want to put it into your GPS, this is how you spell O'Connell Wharf. Brupeg will be open from 9 AM to 2 PM, and if you want to make a day of it, the area is pretty awesome for families. You can bring your kids, there's parks, there's cafes, it's a nice part of town. If you do plan to head up to Brupeg on the 25th of January, it'd be really helpful if you can be in touch with us. Our email is in the description below. Just get in touch and let us know that you're heading up.
So we'll finish up and lift the dinghy for the first time on its davits next week. See you then.